Welcome to Heroes of Might and Magic 3, No Unit Loss. Last time, I asked about your thoughts on using clones in combat and surrendering as well. My initial thoughts were that if I am to use clones, they need to survive the fight to not break any rules, and I think I will stick to that. I'll include this in the quote-unquote official rules. Clones can be used, but need to survive combat. When it comes to surrendering, there were a lot of good takes, I think. The most logical argument presented is the one that essentially is: if it allows me to finish the challenge and it doesn't lose units, I should be able to do it. I like this, but I'm not going to abuse surrender strategies if I can avoid it. So I will allow surrendering, but restrict the usage as much as I can. I have no need for now to use either strategy, so this is not why I brought it up. It is mostly future-proofing this series, and it's nice to be able to mix up my approach from time to time. From now on, I'll include the rules in the description to save time in the intro, even if this one got a little bit too long. Now, Liberation, the fourth of 7 campaigns in Restoration of Arathia. In the first scenario, Steadwick's Liberation, we have the scenario bonus choice of 10k gold, 2 Archangels or 2 Titans. Both the Archangels and the Titans are good choices, but in my opinion, Archangels are just straight up the better units, so it's the natural choice. This campaign is set up differently than the previous ones. Here, you will not use your starting scenario heroes in the later scenarios. Instead, you can transfer some quest artifacts from scenario to scenario, getting a huge payoff in the final scenario. Unfortunately, this is bugged in scenario 3 out of 4 at least, so I don't really bother with it. Which is a shame, because I think it's a cool gimmick I would like to take advantage of. This encourages me to use some lesser used heroes, instead of superpowering the usual big guns. So I reset a bunch until I get Aeris, the druid from Rampart, for no other particular reason than I rarely use druids. Using the 2 archangels, I immediately start exploring to the east, towards the scenario goal. All neutral fights in the first week are very straightforward with the archangels, but I figured I could use auto combat to show a few of the fights. I start off with the castle town and the tower town. We are up against Tan, who start with 7 towns, 3 castle, 3 dungeon and 1 inferno. The goal is to take Steadwick back, the castle town we conquered in the Dungeons and Devils campaign. The map is very similar to the final map of that campaign, with 2 castle towns and the inferno town in the east overworld. Aeris' early game goal is to take all these 3 towns in order to limit Tan's ability to pressure my main town. Infrastructure wise, I intend on building up to a Portal of Glory in the first week. If you know this map, you know we start off with an almost inaccessible angel dwelling in the water north of our starting castle town. This gives +1 angel growth every week as long as I have a Portal of Glory built, so it's very useful to get that early. Aeris' first target is the westernmost Tan town, a castle town. This is usually not guarded by a hero this early, so it should be fairly low risk to go for. After taking this town, there is an inferno town directly to the east, which is often guarded by a hero. Tan almost all the time buys a hero in this town to start exploring, so it makes sense to go for this one first, right? Well, yeah, but it would make my pathing in the overworld inefficient as the other castle town is in the southeast, so I go for the western castle town first. There is one thing which is very time and stress saving in this scenario which I would like to go for: Town Portal. Town Portal can be obtained through Magic Guild level 4, which can be built in every town in this scenario, or I could just get it from an Earth Tome. Where can I get an Earth Tome, you ask? Well, if you again remember this map from the Dungeons and Devils campaign, there's a random relic artifact in the bottom right corner of the underground. Obviously, this could then be an Earth Tome, but it could also be other useful artifacts. If it happens to be any other good artifact, I will build up as many magic guilds as it takes to get Town Portal, but I'd rather just get it from the Earth Tome, as that would also give me the additional safety of having the Resurrection spell. This also means I would need Earth magic, which Aeris already has learned. On day 7, I build the Portal of Glory. This will give me access to 3 angels on week 2, day 1, which lets me use the side heroes to flag all the mines in the starting zone. The Inferno town is unguarded when I arrive at its gates on week 2, day 2, which likely means there's a Tan hero running around somewhere. At least taking their town means they likely won't try to go for my main castle town, as they will be preoccupied by taking their Inferno town back instead, which is good for me. Cuthbert shows up to take back the Inferno town, but I instead set my sights on the southeast castle town. As the Tan castle town is unguarded, I simply walk in to claim it. Then I move back up to teach Cuthbert a lesson. poor fellow looks like he's seen a ghost, but it was rather the divinity of the archangels. He surely is a believer now. Now all I gotta do is flag the Inferno Town again. Like I said, flag the Inferno Town. I actually forgot to do that. Not that it matters all that much, but damn do I feel silly now. Before attacking Cuthbert, I upgraded the Portal of Glory, which gives me access to archangels from my starting castle town. Rizza's new task is to bring them to Ares, so he can start attacking the underground, where the dungeon towns are located. The subterranean gate is guarded by black dragons. They start off as 4 in week 1, and I have experimented with going for them with just the 2 archangels, but I couldn't find a way to do it consistently, so we need more angel backup. Taking the relatively unguarded dungeon town, the hour of truth is upon us. What is in the southeastern corner? And would you believe it? It is in fact an Earth Dome. This makes my life so much easier. Having Town Portal this early lets me do a whole bunch of things. I can easily recruit archangels without the need of hero chains. I can build portals of summoning to recruit additional angels from the dungeon towns, and I can easily defend any town that is threatened. This feels good. In week 4, I have an incredible 13 archangels in my army. Now, with intelligence and the mana vortex, I have both the army and the mana available to go for the other 2 dungeon towns. Dungeon town number 2 is barely guarded, so it's quick combated. I build a portal of summoning to get another angel, and I get 16 gremlins? Yeah, right next to my starting tower town, there's a pre-flagged gremlin dwelling. Probably to balance things a little bit here, I hope. Darn you 3DO. Last dungeon town is also easy pickings. Another portal of summoning produces another angel. The next objective now is the hardest fight in this scenario, the garrison. After collecting all available archangels the next week, I feel ready to go for it. The garrison fight is against a massive 10 black dragons, 20 plus 20 scorpicors, 30 plus 30 minotaur kings, and 40 plus 40 evil eyes. Let's go for it. I'll try to avoid casting the spell Resurrection if I can. Turn 1, I cast Expert Slow. This allows me to kite all units but the black dragons. I prioritize taking out the dragons, which would allow me to take fewer hits in the future. Turn 2, I cast Expert Stone Skin. I figure this is better than Expert Shield, as Stone Skin also lowers range damage. Already, I have lost 1 Archangel in each stack. Archangels can cast Resurrection with a flat power of 100 HP per Archangels, so I can't let my stacks get hit too low, or I won't be able to rest them back using their abilities. Turn 3, I go for the Evil Eyes, as they are the only ranged units. I also cast Shield, as I will start taking pure melee damage from now on. As I only have 5 power, my Meteor Shower cast is extremely weak, but all damage helps. Hiding in the corner, I'm only hit by 1 stack of Scorpicors after waiting. I take some damage from the Scorpicors, but as long as I'm never hit by too many stacks, unless the stacks are small, I should be in little danger. Next turn, I need to recast slow, before I hide in the opposite corner. After using the wait strategy, the Scorpicor stack reaches my Archangels and paralyzes them. This is healed by Cure, thankfully, so I'm still in good shape. Kiting from corner to corner, taking advantage of wait turns to focus down 1 stack at a time, I reach a point where I'm safe to cast my Archangel's Resurrection ability without risking losing any more of them. After this, I simply finish off the remaining stacks. I'm quite satisfied with this fight actually, as I didn't have to use my spell Resurrection and only used the Archangel's Resurrection ability instead. This only leaves Steadwick. Time to liberate. There probably should be a more powerful hero defending this town, but as they are never more of a challenge than the garrison this early in the scenario, I don't bother go looking for them. My army is miles ahead of poor Tamika's army. Easy finish. Job reasonably well done. A few things I obviously could have done better, but if it works, it works. Ares isn't following me in the later scenarios anyway, so I don't mind not optimizing this like I would have done if I were to use him throughout the campaign. Alright, scenario number 2, deal with the devil. The scenario bonus doesn't matter at all, so we just go with Ice Bolt. On to the gameplay. I reset a bunch here as well, in order to get the God of Gods, Yulen, the Cure Specialist. Why Yulen, you ask? Because the final fight has to be done on cursed ground, which doesn't allow magic above level 1, so I want a strong level 1 spell. Cure in this case. The goal of this scenario is to conquer the inferno town of Cleasive, which is guarded by the clan leader, who is just Axis in disguise. To reach this town, I have to get by the Archdevil guards. Fairly straightforward. The early game strategy is to build up to a Portal of Glory in week 1. Again, this will be a recurring theme in this campaign. Using the angels I get from this, I will clear my entire starting zone to have enough income to eventually upgrade to Archangels, so I can advance towards Cleasive. The main obstacle in this scenario is to avoid the strongest Tan hero. Tan starts with 5 towns, 4 of which are fairly easily connected. This makes it so Tan always has a hero with a large amount of imps, gogs, hellhounds and demons, sometimes pit fiends as well. While this is definitely not impossible to overcome for Yulin, Tan usually starts invading my rampart zone at the end of week 3 or the beginning of week 4, which means my scouting hero up there will certainly die. So there is a soft time limit present for me here. In week 2, I begin building up my second castle town. The goal is to have a regular Portal of Glory, an upgraded Portal of Glory, and castle built up in both towns in week 4, but I'm fairly resource strapped. By no means am I poor, but double building Archangels is really expensive. Thankfully, there is a trading post in my starting zone, so I can always do some wheeling and dealing to get what I need. In week 3, I get the first glimpse of Tan's hero, Cal, who is pretty strong already. If I can, I should avoid him. He's a Gog specialist, so him having Horde of Gogs already is quite intimidating. With my 5 angels, I start exploring outside my biome. I take 1 town and flag a gold mine before I head back. Week 4 is when I plan on making the final advance, so I try to be fairly efficient with my movements. Nothing exceptional, I'm no PvP pro, but I don't feel like wasting too much time. Week 4, day 1, Tan has invaded my rampart zone. Time is of the essence now. I need to make the push towards Cleasive. So I hide Serena as far away as I can and hope she's not seen. And on week 4, day 4, I have upgraded all my angels to Archangels, and it's time to go on the offensive. The Archdevils are no match for Yulin, and I can just march into Cleasive's surroundings. For whatever reason, the clan leader almost always attacks me when I'm stood outside Cleasive like this. Personally, I think I'm much stronger than he is, but he still goes for it for whatever reason. You might think this is the easiest fight ever. Just use the Archangel Resurrection ability if things go wrong, right? Wrong. Cursed ground means they can't cast their Resurrection ability either, which is why I want Cure as a safety measure. Turn 1, I just wait with both my stacks as none of Tan's units can reach mine. They surround the Gogs to defend them, and since I can't one-shot either the Ifriti or the Pit Fiends, I'm guaranteed to take some damage. I take out the 2 devils with 1 Archangel stack, get a big hit on the Ifriti with the other. Turn 2, I completely waste a turn of magic by magic arrowing the Pit Fiends, but it's no huge deal. I hit the Pit Fiend stack down to 1 and reduce the demons' numbers as well. Both my Archangels are still really healthy. Seems I didn't need Cure at all. Eliminating the Ifriti gives me free passage to the somewhat big Gog stack, which is one-shot by my Archangels. After this, the clan leader flees after casting a final magic arrow. My path is now free to the imp-guarded Cleasive town, and I'm happy with the job well done. At least we got to see Yulin in action, which is nice. He's not exactly most people's first choice of hero, I think, but we are inclusive people here at Ollie's HQ. Easy peasy lemon squeezy, and we're on to the next one. Alright, neutral affairs. Scenario bonus choices are fairly good. Both artifacts have upgrades in my starting area, so logistics it is. If I were to use any of the possible starting heroes, logistics would be so good. But I'm gonna reset until I find a hero with pathfinding in the tavern, so it's not amazing. Still makes my side hero more mobile though. We are up against blue and purple. The goal of this scenario is to defeat all enemies and take all their towns. Blue starts off with 2 fortress towns and a castle town, while purple starts off with 2 stronghold towns and a castle town. The castle towns are never noticeably built up whenever I play this scenario, but the other towns can definitely be built up and fortified, so it is to my advantage to finish this off as quickly as possible. The map has purple in the southeast area, while blue is west-northwest. My starting zone is grassland, while pretty much the rest of the map is swamp terrain. Swamp terrain is why I want pathfinding. Only 3 heroes start off with this: Korvac, Clancy and Gretchen. Korvac would be my preferred choice as he starts off with Serpentflies, and the Serpentflies' high speed would make me more map mobile, But this time, I get Gretchen. Fair enough, she'll have to do. I start off with a tower town and 2 castle towns without forts built. This means I go for Titans, right? Well, no. The build path to the Cloud Temple is so resource heavy, and the upgraded Cloud Temple is so gem expensive, I don't think it's worth it. Building a Portal of Glory, even when a fort is not pre-built, is still the better option if you ask me. My week 1 strategy is to get some economy going, and then build a Portal of Glory in week 2. So I spent the first few days strolling around, collecting whatever resources I can get my hands on without taking any fights. Pretty much all fights in my starting area are against swordsmen or crusaders, who are basically impossible to do with just a basic starting army. However, there is an opportunity to get some good units from the 4 refugee camps in my biome. In previous attempts, the best I've gotten is a red dragon, which made every single fight in my biome possible to do with just the 1 dragon. On day 6, I checked the final refugee camp, and I'm kicking myself for not checking this earlier. A Titan. That's so lucky. I was considering not buying it, thinking it would devalue the challenge, but screw that, I want to use the Titan. This means I can speed up my strategy by a whole lot. Trading the Titan from Sorsha to Gretchen, it's time to lay waste to every man with a sword I can get my hands on. Sulfur Guard? Easy. I let autocombat show just how OP the Titan really is against these fools. Dude is just tanking every hit like it's nothing. Just a measly 110 out of 300 HP lost. Mercury Guard? Dead. A group of crusaders guarding an inexhaustible cart of lumber? Not on my watch, mate. I'll take that black shard of the Dead Knight as well, thank you very much. Gretchen is just speedrunning this starting zone at the moment. The first real obstacle in this scenario is, like in the first scenario, the garrison. This time, it's not as loaded with amazing units, but it can still be quite the challenge. 60 Gnoll Marauders, 30 Lizardmen Warriors, and the beasts themselves. 15 mighty Gorgons. The Gorgons are why this isn't just a cakewalk. The Death Stare ability is a surefire way of losing units, so I want either enough angels to one-shot that stack, or good enough spells to kill them that way. The fight is on swamp terrain as well, giving all their units +1 speed, so kiting them is very difficult. I build the first Portal of Glory on week 2 day 4, and Castle the day after. Now I'll start building up Castle Town number 2. I aim to have a Portal of Glory in Castle number 2 in week 3 and possibly upgrading to Archangels soon after. The Titan lets me be a little bit more flexible in my approach though, so on week 3 day 1 I go for the garrison fight. As you can see, auto combat got absolutely smacked around here. Mighty Gorgons are no joke. Turn 1 I cast slow on the Gorgons and wait with both my units. Since my power is only 2, slow will only last 2 turns, so I need to recast this a few times. 58 Gnolls died to my 3 angels, but as the Lizardmen got a morale on the first turn, my angels aren't as healthy as I would like them to be. Turn 2, I just smacked the Lizardmen with my angels, leaving 8 of them alive. Every Titan attack will go straight into the beefy boys, to tenderize them for the eventual angel hit. Turn 3, I need to run away from the mighty cows, but the Titan still gives the horned trucks a taste of thunder whenever he can. After taking out the Lizardmen with my angels, I need to kite the Gorgons around. Even with slow, this isn't as easy as it looks. If I had expert slow, this would have been simple, but basic slow is very weak compared to the expert variants. After running out of mana, I eventually just have to take the risk of taking the hit. If it doesn't work, then I learn my lesson. But luckily, I managed to survive the 2 hits I took from the angry oxen, and I'm free to explore enemy territory. Not gonna pretend this was particularly smart or well played, but it definitely worked. Somehow. I take some time to level Gretchen up to level 10, so I can get a +2 in all stats from the nearby library. After this, I start conquering. Purple first. Their castle town has no hero guarding it, and only a rudimentary army, so I just quick combat it. I get another meeting with the annoying cows, guarding the entrance to Purple's main towns, but only a group of 5 this time among its unupgraded peers. You can see how scared I am of those milky moo-moos. With my improved stats, they are thankfully easily taken care of, and the angels eliminate the rest of the stacks. Phew. Stronghold Town number 1 is guarded by a measly 7 orcs, so I just quick combat this one as well. The final Stronghold Town is decently guarded, by AI week 3 standards at least. Sanya is just evaporated, while Caitlyn, who is guarding the actual town, is not handled by the quick combat. I severely outstat her, but I still need to be wary of the rocks and the shooters. Turn 1, I do the usual waiting strategy. Incredibly enough, my Titan and Angel damage in combination does exactly 1 more damage than necessary to kill the full rock stack. I make sure to cure my Angels as well, just in case. Turn 2, I wait with my Angels, but take out the Goblin stacks with my Titan, just to ensure the Angels don't take more damage than necessary. The Pikemen and Ogres moving forward lets the Angels freely infiltrate the backline, taking out the Lizardmen first and the Cyclops afterwards. The Titan then handles the melee units, and all purple towns are conquered. Purple is still not vanquished though, so there is at least 1 more hero lurking around somewhere. Since I don't have scouting, I'm not gonna go looking for them. If they return to take their towns back, I'll just return as well. On to the blue towns now. Blue's castle town is guarded by Dessa, who is swatted away easily, and Tamika, who I also don't really bother fighting manually since she's so weak. Easy dub. Blue's first fortress town is guarded by Voy, who is a navigation specialist on a map without water. Impressive. Very nice. Her army is nothing special, but autocombat did not manage to do this without losses. It's really not a challenge at all, so I struggle to see how it is possible to lose anything in this fight. Not much strategy is used by me here, except waiting on turn 1, which apparently is some genius trick the AI has no answer to. Lucky me. Though, since I haven't faced Blue's fortress armies split up between 2 different heroes already, I suspect the final town should not have a particularly big army either. Splitting armies is probably the biggest factor in making these kinds of challenges possible, so I'm not complaining. Purple's last hero manages to take Blue's last remaining town and vanquishes Blue. Funnily enough, he doesn't have enough movement points to actually enter the town, so I just waltz in and flag it, before challenging an old pal of ours, Yulin. Gotta be careful about that cure specialty. Poor guy has a weakened army and no mana, but I won't be merciful. I wait on turn 1 before I start hitting almost randomly. This fight could have been done way better, but there was absolutely no chance I was losing any units here anyway. Purple is vanquished, scenario completed. But I think this was played very poorly by me. The Titan was both a blessing and a curse, as I was basically freestyling my strategy from the second I got it in the refugee camp. Oh well, on to the last one. Time for the final scenario of this 4-parter. We have to acknowledge the scenario choices here. Expert navigation, which is fine as it is a water-filled map, but the other 2 are literally either Mage Skill level 1 or Mage Skill level 3. Unless I'm missing something here, why would you ever choose Mage Skill level 1 over level 3? Super odd stuff if you ask me, and I, of course, choose Mage Skill level 3 as it is literally so many resources saved. The goal of this scenario is to defeat all enemy heroes and take all their towns, which are all located underground. The overworld map is very narrow on both sides, with my 3 starting towns all on a thin line on the west side, while the east side has no towns at all. Orange starts with 5 towns, all dungeon towns. The easternmost town is usually the one which is built up the most and usually houses their main hero, Arlak. Continuing the campaign tradition of using unusual heroes, Astral will be my main man in this one, as magic will be crucial for success and he has the best chances of getting all I'm looking for. I reset a bunch of times until he starts off with earth magic as well as expert wisdom. Both earth and air magic are necessary, but wizards, like Astral, have a much higher chance of leveling into air magic, so if I can just RNG into earth magic to begin with, I save myself a lot of hassle. The early game strategy is, as usual in this campaign, to build a Portal of Glory in week 1, then start exploring outside my starting area in week 2. I start moving Astral towards the castle town immediately, switching places with Christian, with all 3 starting heroes picking up resources and flagging mines as they go. Genova is off to Rhone in the north, just doing her thing. While the ocean is full of resources and some good artifacts, sort of Hellfire from a shipwreck survivor on the east coast for instance, I don't need to spend time collecting those. Tempo is important here, and I want to spend my tempo getting down to the underground. There's a very, very important artifact close to one of the subterranean gates I want to get my hands on. Spellbinder's Hat. As it gives the hero equipping it access to all level 5 spells. This means I get Dimension Door and Fly, both of which will be heavily used. Now, if I can get Town Portal from my Castle Town's Mage Guild, it only needs to be leveled up once to have a chance of getting it, I will have the ultimate trifecta of mobility spells. These 3 spells, plus the spell Implosion is why I want Earth and Air magic on my main hero. On day 7, I build the Portal of Glory, setting me up for some cave exploration. On week 2, day 1, Astral picks up the 3 available angels and starts heading for the subterranean gate, picking up some experience and stats along the way. I have made sure to pick up intelligence as well, as having enough mana to abuse Dimension Door is really damn important. With Expert Air, I can cast Dimension Door 4 times per turn, which is very mana heavy. Week 2, day 3, I finally enter the underground, immediately heading for the Spellbinder's hat. When picking it up, I still don't have air magic, but I'm confident I will get it. In the nearby area, there are a lot of stats available. +1 attack, +1 power, +2 defense, and a +4 attack artifact, all of which will be acquired of course. On week 2, day 6, the day of reckoning has arrived. Will I get Town Portal from the Castle Mage Guild, or do I need to look for it in the other towns? Of course I darn diddly did. I'm set up for success now. Heading back to the castle town with Astral in time for the weekly angel top-up, I of course also pick up Town Portal. I build up a stables and Town Portal down to my tower town. There are 2 artifacts here I want. Dragonbone Greaves and Dragonwing Tabard, netting me +3 in both power and knowledge. Taking out the archmages guarding the tabard levels me into air magic, and if I didn't think this attempt was going well until now, I definitely do now. Cause holy moly, everything is lining up perfectly. Final thing to do now is to upgrade the angels to archangels, and how orange is gonna feel Astral's wrath. On week 3, day 5, I meet up with the first orange hero, Lorelei. She's just a scout guarding a fortless town, so I let auto-combat take her out just for the fun of it. Getting access to this town gives me a mana vortex, which, together with expert intelligence, quadruples my mana. I feel so overpowered at the moment. 11 knowledge, that means 440 mana. The most mobile old man ever in Astral over here. Just 2 days after taking Orange's first town, I find the second one completely unguarded. The AI is not great at estimating how far you can move if you have Fly or Dimension Door, so this is a freebie. While all of this has been going on, I started building up my tower town, and Christian has gotten a couple of giants to play around with, so he can clear the surrounding area. These will eventually be Titans, and join Astral's forces. Week 4, day 3, I take a 3rd orange town, before setting my sights on the 4th one to the west. After taking the 4th one, I take some time to visit the Library of Enlightenment, getting a sweet +2 to all my stats. Some scattered orange heroes try to take back their conquered towns, but this is why Town Portal is so absolutely amazing here. I can defend from essentially anywhere. Without Town Portal here, this would be such a slog. Malekith had been lurking around a couple of dungeon towns, so I finally confront him on week 4, day 7. But he flees in quick combat, so I decide to manually fight him. Why bother, you ask? Maybe he has an artifact or 2, so if I can defeat him without fleeing, I can snag them off him. And what do you know? Boots of Levitation. Completely useless for me here, but at least I got him. The next day, I Dimension Door over to Orange's last town, which Arlak is defending. After taking quick stock of his army, I decide I don't want to go into a siege fight against him right now, so instead I explore a bit around his town. Taking a gold mine and getting a decent +2 power Arlak hasn't gotten himself yet is a nice bonus. I also decide to check out the Dragon Utopia, but in literally every playthrough before this, it had already been cleared. Not this time though, so let's see what we get. As it was a mini Utopia, the reward isn't great, but the Titan's Gladius is at least useful. The rest of the artifacts though are pretty bad. Month 2, week 1, day 5, Alamar is close to flagging a dungeon town, so I make sure to stop him in his tracks. What I'm doing at the moment is building up a stronger army in relation to Arlak's army. Having army income from both the castle and tower towns means I will get stronger faster, so when I eventually pick up the available soon-to-be Titans, I should be good to go. Day 1 the next week, I feel ready. 5 Titans and 11 Archangels should be enough. What's even better is that I catch Arlak outside of his town, as he's attempting to get the same +2 power I cleared in his town area. 3 Dimension Doors later, and it's fight time. I split the Archangel stack into 2 stacks, just so I can have more Archangel Resurrections available. There are several dangerous stacks here. The 92 Evil Eyes, the 114 Harpy Hags, the 15 Manticores, and the 5 Red Dragons can all do some damage. Turn 1, I implosion the Evil Eyes, and what do you know? 90 of them instantly gone. This spell is so insanely good, it's not even fair. I wait with all my units, losing 2 Archangels to the relentless onslaught of attacks and Lightning Bolt from Arlek. The Titans and the 3 Archangels start chipping away at the Manticores, while the 6 Archangels take out the Dragons. Turn 2, I implosion the Harpy Hag stack back to Narnia. Resurrect the damaged Archangel stack before taking out the Manticores. Turn 3, an Angel double team takes out the troglodytes, while Implosion wrecks the Medusa Queens, and Angel Morale makes sure the Evil Eyes are unfortunately closing their lids for good. This went way better than expected. Now all that is left is to take Orange's last town, which has black dragons? I think I timed this Arlek attack perfectly. It could have gotten quite difficult if I had to siege against him with black dragons, and Scorpicores for that matter. A fairly straightforward fight. I don't think I registered that quick combat won without losses, so I did it manually, but no matter. Fighting their last hero is on the agenda now. And it's Alamar again. Try running now, dummy. An absolutely brutal overkilling implosion takes out the entire Minotaur King population of Arathia, before the Archangels finishes the job. While I wasn't happy with my play in the previous scenario, this one was much better. Heroes of Might and Magic 3 Liberation campaign with no unit loss. Completed, done and dusted. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and a comment. I appreciate it more than you know. Hej då!